Hello and welcome to the Grateful Podcast with Jack Wagner. I'm your host, Jack Wagner, and here we talk about how to build, create, share, and just find the gratefulness that's in your life and how to bring it to your everyday life to just feel happier, healthier, and better overall. When you're grateful for something, I truly believe that just increases the quality of your life and how you're feeling with yourself. So that is my mission with this podcast. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. I'm so grateful that you're here and just listening to the Grateful Podcast. So today I plan on talking about something that has really defined my life for the past year and a half. And that's the balance of striving for excellence and being grateful for what you have in the moment right now. Now, I think before we get into what that is, I should break down what is excellence in my definition and what's striving for that. What's that whole process look like? And what do I mean when I talk about being grateful? So, because this is the Grateful Podcast, let's go with what I talk about when I talk about being grateful first. I think that's a good way to do this. So, I have an article by Harvard that talks about the benefits of it, but I'll wait for a second and I'll talk about my definition of grateful. So, I think that to be grateful is to be able to look at everything in your life and see the benefits you're getting out of it. See it as bringing you to a better place. It's helping your life. It's not a victim's mindset. It's the opposite. We all know someone who takes on a victim's mindset. And it's pretty obvious that does not help them achieve their goals, right? I think what we can do is we can look at that and say, well, okay, if that's not helping, then what's the opposite, right? A lot of times when we're lost to do something, when we can't find a way to accomplish something, we just search for all these ways and all these different ways to do it. But really, you could look at someone that's not doing what you want to be doing and think, well, what's the opposite of that? Pretty simple, but it's a highly effective strategy in my opinion. So let's do that. Let's talk about, well, what's a victim's mindset look like? A victim's mindset is someone who is constantly, victimizing themselves. So they put the blame on other people for doing things to them. They feel like they've been a victim of, I am at a loss for words with victim. What is a synonym for victim? They're suffering. Okay, sufferer seems a little harsh, but for the bad things in their life that are happening, they think they're happening to them. They think that, this person did this to me. This is all so awful, right? It's all just not helping. They feel like everything's against them. When you can switch that, the opposite, when you're grateful, this is what I view as the opposite. I don't know. You could have a different opinion. That's okay. But when you're grateful for something, you view everything as, this is here to help me. This is making me better. For example, over the weekend, I was really sick. It was not fun, okay? But I was like, all right, this is teaching me how to be sick without my parents around. Cool. I need to do this at some point, so this is the time. This is giving me time to slow down not work as much, just be present here. That's the way I took that. I'm not just saying that for the podcast. Those were genuinely my thoughts while I was in that moment. And that's instead of thinking, oh my God, this sucks. I still did think it sucks. It did suck. But, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? I'm the unluckiest person. This only happens to me. It sucks because it's happening to me. No one's helping me. Right? You see the difference in that, how you can flip it. The same thing's happening to you. You're not changing anything about that. You're just changing how it affects you. Right? Marcus Aurelius, if you don't know who that is, please look him up. He's a famous stoic philosopher. He was a Roman emperor. And he wrote the book Meditations, which is kind of like journals and quotes. One of my favorites. It's finding him really helped me. But he likes to talk about how the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. That's a direct quote, by the way. And I think this is a good example of that. And so being grateful is a way to flip your thoughts so that when something's happening to you, you can take the good out of it. You can take the positive out of it. It's a way of applying an optimistic lifestyle to real life, if that makes sense. So, then we have striving for excellence. Now, excellence is a hard thing to define. I think that we all want it. We all strive for something bigger, or a lot of people do. And it's different for every person. But in the end, it's a fulfilled feeling. It's having made a difference. For me, it's fulfilling my purpose, and being great at stuff. Everyone wants to be great at something, whether it's a sport when they're a kid, whether they want to get good grades to be one of the best, and it's just the competitive nature of humans. And I don't know anyone that would be like, no, actually, I'm chill, sucking at this. No one wants that. But also, no one wants to put in, not no one, there are people out there, but it's myself included. I want the result, but I don't necessarily want to always put in the work to get there, right? And it doesn't work like that. You have to put in the work. No matter what this excellence we're defining is, the work has to come. It's just literally that's all of it. In order to be excellent, you have to put in the work. There's no getting around this. Nothing can take that away. Unless, I don't know, you're some child prodigy on the piano at 4, like Mozart. But you know what the odds of that are? It's nothing. If you're listening to this podcast, you're not a prodigy. You're not. You need to put in the work for your dreams. It's that simple. There's no getting around it, but you don't want to do it. Maybe you do, okay? I know I love what I'm trying to do here, but I didn't want to get up at 5:30 to record this. Right? I just did not want to do that. But you got to put in the work. And what you start to realize, and here's where the connection comes in, is the result is not it. You're not searching a result because no result is going to make you instantly happier. As we talked about, happiness in your life depends on the quality of your thoughts, right? Thank you, Marcus Aurelius, for that quote. But that means that you're not letting exterior events change your internal normally. Here's another quote, where he talks about you have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Okay? Do you understand the connection here that I'm trying to make? You only have the power over stuff that you're doing. So these outside events, such as the result we're talking about normally, right? Because a result in our lives right now, per people's goals, would be like, let's see, for sports, it'd be like make the MLB, right? These are huge. Like make the pros, get drafted. Or if you write a book, like reach number 1. From doing a podcast, like get a certain number of downloads. Or if I'm making a YouTube video, a certain number of views, subscribers. But I don't know if you can see the pattern in every single one of these things, but the common theme is that it's someone else's validation for these things. That's not under your control, right? This is an exterior event. The goal that you set is an exterior event that is dependent upon other people's decisions and other people liking what you're doing and validating you. Hold on, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. It's not coming. I felt it. It was coming on. It's gone. Perfect. So, we were talking about exterior events. The thing is, you can't control any of that, right? You can't control what someone thinks about you. You can be the coolest person in the world, and someone can think you're an absolute butthole, and you can't do anything about it. It's their opinion. It's their life. It's their experience that leads them to that conclusion, all right? Don't get obsessed over that. You can't change it. Maybe you can, but it'd take a lot of work, a lot of energy on your part that you don't want to have to put into that, right? Because what you want is your goal. But the only thing that you can control is the work you're putting in. And if you are grateful for every moment, right, as we were talking about, if you don't have a victim's mindset and you're grateful to be doing what you're doing, then you can be grateful to be doing the work, because all you can be doing is the work. So if you flip your mindset and you're grateful, you take on a mindset where you think, wow, I'm so glad to be here in this moment. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to be working on my project, to be working to get closer to my dream. You can start to make doing the work your dream. Because it all depends on your internal behavior, on your internal climate, I'll call it. Nothing is going to change, even if you do get that result. But your internal climate, it'll be the same. So if what you're searching is this thing that you think will bring you happiness, it's not going to. It won't. Maybe it will, okay? I'm not going to be a guy that gives guarantees. But I don't think it will. That's a better way to put that. And so what you need to do is change your internal climate. Become grateful for what's around you, which will help you love doing the work, which will help making the work what you love to do, right? That seemed really counterintuitive. Okay, that's okay. And when you inevitably achieve this goal, because when you put in work for days in and days out for years, if that's what you're working towards, or you're not even working towards anything anymore, you're just doing it, this will come. These this external validation will come with that, because what do people respect? People respect work. What's one thing that we respect in this culture more than anything? It's people that work hard. We celebrate hard work. It is a celebrated thing. And when you put in work all the time, the odds of you achieving your goal are pretty enormous. Because how many people actually do put in work day in and day out for years? How many people have that discipline? I don't think many people do. I really don't think so. Maybe social media can disrupt this image, because the people that do have this discipline, you can see that more often, or people that don't have this discipline claim to have this discipline on social media. So you think everyone's out there achieving their biggest dreams, and there's not room for you. There's not any cap on the amount of people that can achieve their dreams. It's not like an economy where you have a certain amount of money and it's being dealt out. No, like, there is no cap on this. There is no amount of dreams being handed out to each person. There's no dream accomplishment economy. It's literally just, it can grow. It can be as big as you want. And so remember that. I think it's important to remember that really there's no one holding you back but you. Because as I said, your dreams are, that result is dependent upon other people normally. But what's not dependent is the work that you do and what you choose to do with your time to work towards that. And if you can become grateful for what you have in your life and what you get to do. What you get to do. Did you hear that wording? Not what I have to do, what I get to do. I think it becomes nearly inevitable. You are listening to me. If anyone's listening to this podcast, I honestly don't know if anyone besides my family is listening to this podcast, but if you are, thank you. And I'm so grateful my family does as well. But as a small creator, trying to achieve dreams and trying to make it in a way where my wisdom can help people. Wisdom that sounds like an egotistical way to say it. My knowledge, my point of view on life can help other people, right? My goal is to make this world a more joyful place. I want to change the world. I want to make it a happier place to be in, a place where we don't have people with victims mindsets, a place where we all feel grateful for what we have in life and realize the opportunities we're given. That's my goal. But here I am, starting out. And if you look at it from a result point of view, a result standpoint, I'm not too close at all. The way I think about it is, I'm really happy to be doing what I'm doing right now, because I know if this reaches someone, it'll affect them. So I'm really grateful. I enjoy doing this. It helps me understand myself and what I'm trying to do. And my big goal is out there. And it does depend on other people, because they have to change. They have to be willing to adapt with what I'm doing. But if I keep putting in the work every single day, if I make a podcast every single week, if I keep making YouTube videos that promote my optimistic way of living, if I keep this up, I have to add one thing. If I keep adding to the Spread Love 365 challenge with my mom, check that out on Instagram. Spread Love 365. okay? It's a challenge where we help spread love every single day, one challenge a day. But if I keep putting in the work and doing that, the results will start to come. I know they will, right? But I have to not make it what it's about. I have to make it so the results are not what it's about. The work is what it's about. I listened to a podcast with David Goggins on the Huberman Lab podcast, and he talked about the stick. You know how you have, there's a classic thing of like a pig and a carrot and a stick, and he wants the carrot. David Goggins said it's all about the stick. There's no carrot for him. What he means by that is there is no end goal. There's no end goal for him. The goal is all the work. And every goal starts to fall in after that. Because we can't control what other people think. It's as simple as that. We have no control. So we just do what we do. We put in the work and we hope the results will come. But if not, we're grateful. And I cannot stress this enough. And if not, we are grateful for what we're doing. I'm grateful to be here. Right? That's what this podcast is about. We are grateful. Yeah. Well, I really hope that you could take something away from this podcast today. I really enjoyed making this. I think I did a really good job today of staying on a path and staying more articulate. So I'm proud of that. But as I finish, I lose the articulacy. Honestly, it's been a little difficult to stay articulate in English while I'm speaking French all the time, because for those of you who don't know and are listening to this and are confused about what I'm saying, I'm an exchange student in France right now, so for 10 months. It's mid-January, so I'm 4.5 months in, so I'm nearly halfway there. And yeah, speaking French all the time, so this English thing is I'm less articulate than I used to be. I'm not more articulate than this in French, though. I do want to make that clear. I'm getting better at French. I'm getting pretty good at French, honestly, but I'm not this articulate. I do not have this range of vocabulary. But anyways, thank you so much for listening, watching, however you consume this. I can't wait for next week. This was really fun. And if you want to go do me a favor, and if you really like this and want to help me out, then I have a Patreon you can go check out. I got a link in the description. I have a YouTube channel with more awesome content, so check that out. And then, as I was talking about, I have this Spread Love Challenge with my mom. So please go check that out as well. I'm so grateful that you listen to this podcast, and I'll see you next week. Bye. I hope that you enjoyed listening to this episode of the Grateful Podcast with Jack Wagner. If you like the podcast and would like to support its growth, please consider subscribing to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check out my YouTube channel under my name and see all the positive content that I've put out there. Thank you so much, and I hope to get to see you next week. Love you all. Bye.